What if the world has never been told the full truth about where Princess Diana was laid to rest? For nearly 3 decades, millions believed they understood the story of Diana's burial, the quiet island, the lake, the memorial, the tragic goodbye. But now, shocking new revelations, disturbing security incidents, and emotional royal confessions are forcing people to look at her final resting place in a completely different way. Why was Diana buried away from every royal tradition? What secrets surrounded the items placed inside her coffin? And why are new developments at Althorp causing panic, emotion, and controversy inside royal circles once again? Before this video ends, you'll discover heartbreaking details about William and Harry's private visits, the terrifying threats surrounding Diana's grave, and the emotional reason the world still cannot let the people's princess go. Stay with us because this story becomes more emotional, more mysterious, and more unbelievable. Was not simply a princess. To millions, she represented compassion, humanity, and emotional honesty in a world that often seemed cold and distant. Now, decades after her tragic death, shocking new discussions surrounding Diana's final resting place have reignited global fascination and emotional debate. Questions the royal family once hoped would fade away are returning stronger than ever. Recent developments at Althorp House, the Spencer family estate where Diana is buried, have sparked renewed public attention, stirring emotions across Britain and around the world. From major renovations and emotional memorial updates to alarming security threats and ongoing controversies surrounding access to her grave, the story of Princess Diana's burial remains as powerful and mysterious today as it was in 1997. Truly understand why these recent announcements matter so deeply. The Bishop of Peterborough consecrated the ground, transforming the small island into sacred space. The decision stunned many observers at the time. The most famous and beloved woman in the world, whose funeral drew billions of viewers globally, was not buried in a royal palace or cathedral. Instead, she was placed far away from royal ceremony, hidden among trees, water, and silence. Originally, Diana was expected to be buried in the Spencer family vault in the nearby village church, where generations of her ancestors had been laid to rest for more than 500 years. However, her brother, Earl Charles Spencer, made the deeply emotional decision to change those plans. He later explained that he wanted Diana's sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, to have a place where they could visit their mother privately, away from public intrusion and media chaos. Security concerns also played a major role. Diana's fame had become so enormous that there were fears her grave would attract obsessive attention forever. Many royal historians believe the decision carried symbolic meaning as well. Diana, despite once being the Princess of Wales, was buried away from royal soil. To many people, it reflected the complicated and often painful relationship between Diana and the institution of the monarchy itself. She had become more loved by the public than almost any royal before her, yet she also became one of the most isolated figures within palace walls. The details surrounding Diana's burial remain deeply emotional even today. She was dressed in a black long-sleeved cocktail dress designed by Catherine Walker, one of her favorite designers. The outfit had been chosen only weeks before her death, making the moment even more haunting. She was buried wearing black stockings and black shoes, and in her hands were rosary beads gifted to her by Mother Teresa, in a heartbreaking coin. Sidon's Mother Teresa herself died only 5 days after Diana. Among the most touching items buried with her was a photograph of her sons, William and Harry, discovered inside her handbag after the accident. That image accompanied her into eternity. The symbolism remains devastating even decades later. Diana, whose life revolved around protecting and loving her children, was buried holding the faces of the 2 boys she adored most. Although Diana had lost the title of Her Royal Highness following her divorce from then Prince Charles, she was still given a lead-lined coffin traditionally associated with royal burials. This revealed one of the greatest contradictions in Diana's story. Officially, she was no longer considered a senior royal figure. Yet emotionally, in the eyes of the public, she remained something far greater. Her funeral became one of the most emotional public mourning events in modern history. The palace may have removed her formal status, but the world granted her something much more powerful: everlasting love and immortality. Even small details during her funeral carried enormous symbolic weight. The royal standard draped across her coffin was eventually removed before burial, quietly reminding the public that debates over Diana's royal identity continued even in death. It was as though the monarchy itself struggled to decide how fully it could embrace the woman who had forever changed. The peaceful structure contains tributes, inscriptions, and emotional reminders of Diana's humanitarian legacy. One of the engraved quotes reads, "Nothing brings me more happiness than trying to help the most vulnerable people in society. It is a goal and an essential part of my life, a kind of destiny. Whoever is in distress can call on me, and I will come running wherever they are." Those words continue to resonate profoundly with people around the world. In many ways, they summarize why Diana remains unforgettable. She represented empathy in a system often criticized for emotional distance. Even now, her compassion still feels deeply relevant. In 2025, Charles Spencer revealed that the memorial temple had been carefully restored and repainted. He shared photographs online showing the memorial looking more beautiful and preserved than it had in years. Soon after, another major announcement stunned royal watchers, all leaving the Spencer family shocked and deeply disturbed. These incidents revealed an uncomfortable truth. Even in death, Diana remains the focus of obsession. The island burial site itself was originally chosen partly because it could only be reached by boat, creating a natural barrier against intruders. The surrounding lake functions almost like a moat, protecting the island from unwanted visitors. Yet despite those precautions, determined individuals have continued trying to breach the privacy of the estate. Some visitors over the years also expressed surprise that Diana's island grave appeared natural and slightly untamed, rather than perfectly manicured like a traditional royal monument. But many admirers believe that choice feels deeply appropriate. Diana herself was never polished into emotional perfection. She was authentic, vulnerable, compassionate, and human. A quiet island surrounded by wild flowers, trees, and black swans seems far more fitting for her spirit than cold marble walls ever could. Perhaps the most heartbreaking aspect of Diana's resting place is the emotional connection it continues to hold for her sons. Both Prince William and Prince Harry have visited the grave numerous times over the years, sometimes together and sometimes separately. One particularly emotional visit occurred in 2017, marking 20 years since Diana's death. The brothers stood together beside the lake during a private memorial service led by the Archbishop of Canterbury. For a brief moment, despite growing tensions between them, grief united them once again. Prince William later brought Catherine, Princess of Wales, to visit the site privately. Prince Harry also visited with Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, and described the emotional experience in his memoir, Spare. He recalled rowing a small boat across the lake toward the island, describing the silence, the water, and the overwhelming emotional weight of approaching his mother's grave. The image remains unforgettable, a son carrying grief that never truly faded, rowing across dark water to reach the mother he lost as a child. Harry also revealed something deeply moving in his memoir. At one point, he wished to be buried alongside Diana someday, though he was reportedly told it would not be possible. Instead, plans were eventually made for him to rest at Frogmore. The revelation exposed the depth of longing he still carries. Behind the titles, interviews, controversies, and headlines remains a boy who lost his mother at just 12 years old and never fully recovered from that pain. Today, renewed attention surrounding Diana's memorial continues to grow. Renovations, restoration work, and public access discussions have fueled ongoing debates about whether her burial site should eventually become an officially recognized national memorial. Some believe the British monarchy should fully acknowledge Diana's extraordinary impact on modern royal history and preserve her resting place as a permanent site of national remembrance. But perhaps the most astonishing reality is not the memorial itself. It is the fact that Diana's presence still feels alive after all these years. More people continue visiting Althorp every year. Flowers still appear beside the memorial bench. True reason Diana's story never ends. Because real love, real compassion, and real humanity survive long after titles, palaces, and royal traditions fade away. Before we continue, if Princess Diana's story still touches your heart all these years later, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Diana's legacy is more than royal history. It's a story of love, pain, compassion, and a woman who changed the monarchy forever. By subscribing, you'll join thousands of viewers who continue uncovering the untold truths, hidden details, and emotional stories the world still cannot stop talking about. And trust us, the revelations coming later in this video about her grave, the royal family, and the emotional confessions from Prince Harry are things you absolutely do not want to miss.